Well, welcome back. I had a request from a viewer to show how I make my homemade cage feeders or method feeders, and how to rig it up on the line. So that's what I'm going to do today real quick. Let's just get right to it. So this is everything we're going to need. I use hair curlers. This is a set of hair curlers that my wife no longer used, and these are the spring kind. I'll show you those in a second. You need some wire, a couple of pairs of pliers, and a wire cutter. First thing we're going to do is get this outer covering taken off of this hair curler. And get this center piece taken out. So all you're left with basically is a spring, and if you can't find these kind of hair curlers, you could probably just see if you could find some springs. Okay, now we're going to take a length of wire and kind of measure it about 2 times the length of the spring. That'll work. Thread this wire through the insides of the spring here. Kind of line up the ends so you got about the same amount of wire on each end here. And on one end, just make a 90-degree bend, just like that. Then remove your spring. You're going to use some sliding sinkers. Thread those on the wire. You can use whatever size sinkers you want and make this as heavy or as light as you want. I think these are probably 1/4 ounce sinkers. So let's see, I've got 4 1/4 ounce sinkers. So I've got 1 ounce of lead here. And slide those all the way down to your right angle. Like that. We're going to put this back through the spring, just like so. I think you can probably see where this is going here. So we've got the right angle at the end of the spring here. We're going to make another right angle right here. We've got this so far, and you can see as this will kind of spin around on the spring. So to prevent that from happening, I'm going to thread this wire through a couple of coils of this spring on each side. And I'm going to trim this end off here just a little bit. Don't need quite that much length. Underneath one and over the other. There we go. Then we're just going to join these 2 wire ends together. And I'm just going to kind of pick in the center of the spring here. Use a needle nose and just make a sharp bend on one side. Take your other end and run it through that hook that you just made. Bend it over. There you've got, they're hooked up together. Gonna crimp them down so they're not gonna come apart. And we're gonna trim off those tag ends. That's it. It's not very pretty, but it works. Works good. I've caught lots of fish using this. Now I'll show you how I rig it up on the line. So to rig this up on the line, first thing you put on is a sinker slide. These are a pretty common thing used in catfishing, and this is a pretty big one. You can get smaller ones than this, but I use a sinker slide. You could also use a snap swivel. It's very similar, but a sinker slide works pretty good. So you're going to put a sinker slide on your main line. Then you're going to tie your hook link with a swivel to your main line. So this is what you've got here, is your main line with your sinker slide, runs up and down the line, and your hook link below it. So then you just take your sinker slide and hook that through the wire on your homemade cage feeder, and that's it. That's your rig right there. Pack this full of pack bait, put your hook bait on there. You can stuff this hook into your hook bait if you want to. I usually leave it dangling off to the side there, and in the water it's going to be laying like that. And it's not, like I said before, it's not pretty at all, but it gets the job done for sure. This is how I started out. Quiet down now. Quiet down. This is how I started out with my carp rig, and it works good. One thing I wanted to mention too, actually the first ones that I made in this style, I actually used a bottom bouncer, which is essentially the same thing as the wire with the lead. It's just one big chunk of lead with wire coming out each end, and that's even simpler actually, but those actually do cost a couple bucks a piece, or this is cheaper. But anyway, there's the homemade method cage feeder deal. Hopefully you found that helpful. Thanks for watching.